All right, welcome back to Radio Nation. I'm your host, Nicholas Pascod. Joined now live in studio with Annie Szczygielski from Oakville, Ontario. And you might be wondering, we've already done Modern Artists, so what's this part of the show? And this is the part where we promote a lot of people that do great work in their community and promote a lot of unique and exciting things and different things. So we're doing an Environmentalist today, so we're proud to have Annie Szczygielski on the show. So welcome.
Thanks. Hi.
All right, so let's get started into this interview. But before we do, maybe tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've been doing and why it's so awesome.
Okay. Well, I never was really always into environmental issues. I wanted to be a teacher, and that's kind of the path I was going on until last year. My teachable in university was human geography, and I ended up getting a BA in human geography. And the teaching industry really isn't the greatest right now, so I decided to pursue the environmental field and did a post-grad certificate in environmental management and assessment at college. And from that, I realized I didn't have the experience that a lot of me had, so I decided to just throw myself out there. And I wrote the David Suzuki Foundation asking if they were taking on volunteers, and I got lucky enough to be a part of that. So I'm a special event volunteer with the foundation. I've got to meet David Suzuki. He's awesome. It's been one of the most,
cool.
It's been the coolest experience of my life. And then from there, things just kind of snowballed.
Now, you were just recently hired as an environmental policy intern, if I'm correct in reading that, right? What's that experience? What's that been like for you?
It's been awesome. I get to work with the Halton region and different local not-for-profits in Oakville. I get to be a part of a bunch of different cool projects, such as the Halton Children's Water Festival. We're having an event coming up in July called Summer Fun Bus and Bike Day, where we teach kids about safety of riding buses so they don't have to be afraid. It's something easy that they can do, safety on bicycles. I'm doing a waste audit on some of our facilities and just things of that nature. So it's been really cool, a lot of different experiences.
Well, that's fantastic. And now you won a scholarship this year?
Yeah.
The Halton Environmental Scholarship, if I'm correct?
Yeah.
What was that like, winning that award? How did that make you feel? And tell us a little bit about that experience and winning it and the presentation.
I was really surprised that I won it because I've never won anything, and I never really put myself out there thing of that nature. But I was shocked, and it was awesome because it was a money prize, so that was kind of nice. But when I got there, I didn't expect that they would actually have me go up on stage and ask me why I deserved to win. And it was in front of 400 people, so that was kind of nerve-wracking, but it was awesome. It was great.
Now, you were very active on Twitter, and this is how we came about this. Having you on the show is you're very active on Twitter, and you're promoting a lot of great stuff, and you were talking about rain barrels. I know we're not going to get into it, but so your job, obviously, you promote a lot of stuff. What sort of things do you have to look for when you're promoting stuff? Because there's a lot of there's so many things that relate to the environment, right? So are you just sort of narrow to the town of Oakville, or specifically to our region of Oakville, like Halton, or can you promote sort of beyond that?
I like to tweet about the events that I'll be attending because they're legitimate and they're all being run by established organizations or the municipality. So I really like to do stuff like that. I don't know, I tweeted about, we had a rain barrel sale, so I tweeted about that, or I'll tweet when I'll be out at an event, just to get people involved to know that it's happening, because I never really knew that we did all of this stuff until I started working for the town, so.
All right, now we're going to switch some gears here and talk a little bit about how other people can get involved. So that kind of being said, how do you encourage other people like yourself and other young people out there to get involved with the environment, whether it's just doing simple recycling or actually getting more involved like yourself and getting involved with an organization?
Well, if you really want to get involved on the organizations, to be involved with an organization, I really suggest just emailing local not-for-profit organizations. I think that's one of the easiest ways to get involved, and just see if they offer any volunteer opportunities, if they need you for events and things of that sort. If you want to go green, then there's some really easy ways to do that at home. I would suggest you can either pay for a home energy audit, or you can go out and do it yourself, and it's super easy. I recommend the candle test. So what you'll do is candle and run it along your doors and windows. If it blows out, then caulking is going to be your best friend, because that can save you so much money in the long run. There's so much more that I could talk about.
Is there a website that people can go to that sort of explain all these simple things that we can do to help, save money and help the environment. That because a lot of the stuff you hear about it, but then you go home and you forget, or you don't know where to go. So was there a site that can sort of help us with that?
I don't know if there's one specific site. I know if it's hard because there's a lot of greenwashing out there, and there's a lot of people that are trying to either scam you out of money or claim that something's green when it's not. Mm-hmm. So I'll give some quick tips now. So if you're listening, you can write them down. Some things that you can do is I really suggest investing in Energy Star appliances and lights, because those can save you like 75% on your electricity bill a year. They're awesome. Another thing is like low flush toilets or low flow toilets. You can put an aerator in your pipes, not in your pipes, but in your faucets,
right.
And that will just limit the amount of water that's coming out. And another great one is programmable thermostats. And that will just, if you're gone for the day, you don't need your air conditioning on, right? Unless you have dogs or animals at home. But then it won't be set during the day, and it'll be ready for a half hour before you come home from work, and your house is cool and you haven't wasted any energy during the day.
Now, you just said pets. If you do have pets at home, is it maybe ideal to set it even maybe to not as much as you would if you're at home? Yeah,
just a comfortable temperature so your pets aren't getting too warm. Or just close the blinds. You could plant trees outside your windows, because when the leaves fall off in the winter, they'll let the sun in, and when they're all full and grown in the summertime, it'll keep your house cool.
There you go, another tip. So let's talk a little about, I know it's not really on the sheet that I gave you, but composting. And the town of Oakville here gives you those little brown bins, and you got to put all this stuff in them. And sometimes I don't know about anybody else, but I know they give you the sheet, but sometimes it's just confusing. I put stuff in there, Mom's like, it goes into recycling, and I'm like, no. And then I'll put in the recycling, and I get confused. So what is the benefits of having the little brown bin or whatever, those little green bins, and how does that help the environment? I know it sounds like an obvious question, but what kinds of things can you put in there that people tend to not put in there?
Well, the big one in the Halton region is coffee cups. They are compostable. A lot of people don't know that. And for businesses, and when you're working, you obviously need your Tim Hortons in the morning. Yep. So Tim Hortons cups and coffee cups can be composted, which is great. And we need composting because it minimizes our waste going to the landfill. We don't want our landfills filling up. We don't want them having short lifespans, because then we're just going to be using up more space that could be used for either residential neighborhoods or green space or something along those lines. So composting and recycling really minimizes the waste to landfill, and composting can be used also for soil, or to you make it in your backyard if you wanted to. So that's great too.
Now, there's an article that I was reading, and it says that Canadian moms are among the most concerned with the environment. And by a staggering percent, actually I'm going to pull it up because I had it out here. It's a ridiculous number. 69% of Canadian moms are more concerned with the environment compared to our American counterparts, which are 45%, and our British counterparts, that are 48%. Why do you think that Canadian moms are more concerned about the environment, per se, than our counterparts?
Well, I think we're lucky to have had the David Suzuki Foundation is Canadian-based, and Greenpeace is also Canadian-based. So I think that we're lucky that we have had two amazing not-for-profit organizations so involved in the Canadian, just so involved in Canada. And I think we also do a really great job of educating our kids. I know here in Ontario we have a program called the Ontario Eco School Program, and what that is schools can earn a gold, bronze, or silver standard for their initiatives. So I think if we're teaching the kids in school, they're going home and they're encouraging their parents to participate in the same type of initiatives. And I think that's really important too, and why we have so many Canadian moms that are concerned.
Now, I'm not sure if this is going to relate specifically to environmental stuff, but recently they banned pesticides. Mm-hmm. There's only so much. Now there's these green pesticides. There's ones that, now it seems like I go in the store and everything says green on it, and I'm confused as a buyer of what I'm supposed to buy, because I think I might be buying a product that's actually green, but it might not be helping. Do you know of any products at the top of your hand, or certain types of products that can use for outside in the garden that are green and actually are going to effectively do the job?
I don't know any off the top of my head. I know that you can purchase native species seeds and also kind of take over the other weeds and stuff that you don't want growing on your lawn. I don't know of any herbicides or anything of that nature.
Fair enough.
But definitely there's a great website that I like. It's greencricket.ca, and they have incredible standards that they meet in order to make sure that all of their products are green. So you can check them out. I believe that they do free shipping within certain parts of the GTA, and they also have a write-up to talk about like why their product is green, how it was made, the type of packaging that it comes in. They really try to make sure that the process from beginning to end is completely green. So they're great.
Well, that's fantastic. And did you want to just say that website again just one more time?
It's www.greencricket.ca.
Perfect. Well, we're joined in studio with Annie Szczygielski, if you're just listening. So what are some other things, like what are some big issues in specifically Halton that are green issues that maybe Halton needs to address better, or not so much address better, that maybe we as residents of the area need to sort of work on?
I think we're doing a great job in Halton and in Oakville. An issue that we need to deal with, the whole GTA and almost the whole world, is climate change. And that's something that we are seeing the impacts of right now. Like, we've seen the high winds, we've seen the severe storms, we've seen the heat alerts and smog alerts, and those are going to keep coming and they're going to keep getting worse. So we really need to step back and take a look at our life and see what we're doing. Like, try limiting yourself to the amount of times that you drive your car to work. If you can bus or walk or train, like, try doing that at least once a week. It'll make a huge difference. So I really think like flooding is going to be a major issue, and heat is going to be a major issue in the future. So we just need to look at ways to green our lifestyles in order to minimize the impact.
Now, speaking of transit, I know this from personal experience, but you can get tax benefits if you take buy a monthly pass on the GO train or something like that, or if you take TTC. So yeah, it's always a good thing to do, is use public transit when necessary. All right, so some other quick questions here. In terms of environment stuff, where do you see like the environment sort of heading in the future? Like, I know it's going to sound weird, but I mean, obviously it just sounds like such a dismal prospect, like, oh, we're a society that's just consuming everything and we're not taking the initiative to stop. Do you really see it being, is it really as dark as it sounds, or?
I don't know. I don't think it's good to say it's as dark as it sounds, because then people will say, well, we're screwed, throw their hands up and just stop caring. I think that we're at a point right now where we're going to see the impact of what we have done in our past. And if we continue with these trends, I really think that we will have a lot to face us in the future. So with that being said, we need to start caring a bit more, and just it honestly, like, going green saves you money, and sometimes that's the incentives that people need to do. Like I said, you could save 75% on your electricity bills just by switching over to Energy Star appliances and light bulbs. So why not do it for a different reason if you're not willing to do it for the environment?
Exactly, and especially in a really tough time right now, like the economy and still being really rough, and gas prices skyrocketing, and makes it hard for people to do their sort of daily things, and so every penny is a huge hand to save, right? So, all right, so we're going to talk a little bit about, we've talked about the environment and all that stuff, but in terms of like, what do you do as a person to really, I know you do a lot of stuff, so it's kind of maybe an unfair question, but what specific things that you're really conscious about when, in terms of trying to, like, save the environment or save gas, or what sort of things do you do to say, okay, I'm going to walk to work, or I'm going to do this? Is there something that you do that's really particular?
I'm really big with recycling, and I really try when I go out, like, not to purchase stuff that will end up harming the environment. So, like, when I go to a restaurant, I really, if they have styrofoam containers, I'll try not to take my dinner home with me. Like, I look at stuff like that. I really try to be active more on the motivational side, trying to inspire other people to do stuff. Like, I do the simple green things at home. I live with my parents still, so I kind of have to go by with what they're doing, and they're great. Like, my parents have the Energy Star appliances and the light bulbs, and my dad's really big with turning off the light when you leave the room. Right. So
my mom is too.
Yeah,
so
we do all that stuff at home already. So I just try to be active in the community and make the changes I can in their lives to inspire them to do better.
Well, that's exactly why you're on this show tonight. And some changes that other people, I know we talked a little bit, but what is like the simplest thing that someone can do to save money in their house, but help the environment in a big way? Whether it's, like you said, doing the test to see if you need caulking, or is there other little tricks? I know we kind of touched on this. I
don't know. Like I said, the caulking one is big. Like, you don't realize how much energy you're losing from like a little hole in your door. Like, there's cracks in windows and doors, and that can really lose a lot of energy. And the same thing with like blinds, just to keep the heat out, can make a huge difference in the summertime. I think I touched on most of the major ones that are pretty simple to do and pretty cost effective. So
how, I don't know if you're gonna know this off the top of your head. This is just a question of like me personally asking one. What about your garage? I know that lets out a lot of heat in the wintertime, and it lets in a lot of heat in the snow. Like my room is above the garage, and it's like 20 degrees hot. Is there anything you can do to sort of minimize that, or is that just something we're gonna have to sort of live with for a little while?
My parents actually, I believe a year ago, got some new garage doors installed, and they actually have more insulation. So my bedroom isn't as cold in the winter, and it's not as hot in the summer. So you can definitely look at investing in that if that's an issue that you're concerned about.
Very interesting. And one last question from me personally, anyway. My mom says to me, you can't recycle like products that have dairy in them. Is that true?
You can only, this is where people get confused. There's numbers that come with plastic, and they're usually in a little, what looks like a recycling symbol.
Yes, I've seen that. I always want to know what that was.
So most people assume that all these plastics are recyclable. I'm not sure about other places, but I know specifically in Halton, you can only recycle plastics that have the number 5, 2, or 1 in that little recyclable symbol. The rest cannot be recycled.
Okay.
And that's because they can't take the compounds, like when they break it down, they can't separate certain compounds from the others. So yeah, like the individual yogurt containers can't be recycled, but the big ones can. It can get really confusing.
So even if you wash out the little ones, like those little individual packets, you can't recycle them anyway.
No.
Interesting. See, yeah. I always thought, I'd always put them in recycling. I was like garbage, and I'm like, I can't understand this. Like, it's plastic. Like, shouldn't it be recyclable? But like, there's a lot of things like that's why I find it confusing to you don't know what to recycle and whatnot. My last sort of topic that I want to touch on is like hybrid cars and gas and everything like that. What is your take on automakers sort of moving towards more hybrid efficient cars, and what are your thoughts about that?
I think it's good. I don't know. I kind of think that they're not doing it for the right reasons. I think they're doing it because it's something that's becoming popular. I think it could have been done a long time ago. Also, with gas prices skyrocketing, people aren't buying the big SUVs anymore,
right.
So they need to have something else to back it up. But I think it'll definitely be a positive change for the future. I just wish it had happened sooner. Right.
There's a, if you ever want to see something really interesting, there's like it's a documentary called Who Killed the Electric Car, and it was done.
Yeah.
10. You ever seen that? It's very interesting. Like you can see all the politics behind automakers, so it's very interesting. All right. So before we let you go, we want to talk a little bit more how people can get involved with doing similar things that you do. And one last question: you met David Suzuki.
Yeah.
How big is David Suzuki in terms of? A lot of people that are just everyday people, they hear his name, they know who he is, they know his foundation maybe, but how important has he been to saving the environment and protecting the environment, not in just Canada, but all over the world? How important has he been? He's
probably been the leading cause of everyone just starting to really give a damn about what's going on with the environment. He's really set the bar, and the best part is he doesn't even work for the foundation. He's a volunteer for the foundation, which I think is really important and really notable, because he just puts his time out there to make a difference. And a lot of people are skeptical of environmental issues, and they choose not to believe in it, and they don't always have good things to say. But I think David Suzuki has definitely brought attention to the issue. He's definitely addressed controversies that have happened, and I think he's just been one of the most inspiring people for me, and I really appreciate just everything that he's done, and I think a lot of people out there do too. Now,
there's some final, I know we've kind of touched on this, but there's some little questions I think the people out there maybe want to know is, so you're doing all this stuff, you're working for the Halton region, and what's your ultimate goal? I mean, where do you want to be in 5 years?
I don't know. The sky's kind of the limit right now. I would love to be involved with speaking to schools or something along those lines. I love writing, so if I could get involved with writing or something.
You do vlogs, right?
I do vlogs on the greenhub.ca, which is another organization I'm involved in right now. So we've currently just started a youth team. So that's something.
I read that. I was going to touch on that.
I'm really excited about, but I don't know. I really don't know.
Now, with this youth team, are they looking to add other people, or is this just sort of like a couple of people that are committed to doing it and then they'll sort of see where things go?
Right now, there's 4 of us, and we want to extend it to other people. So if you're interested, go to thegreenhub.ca. And in September, we're hoping to have it kind of fully launched and go from there. We're just addressing environmental initiatives and news that may not be getting. Stories matter as well.
They
so
do.
that's kind of what we're working on there.
Well, speaking of small stories, if you ever have, there's anything like any causes or anything like any like rainbow trails or that sort of thing. I hate to touch back on rainbows because we kind of went over that, but anything like that you want promoted, like I'm on Twitter now like all the time. It's unfortunate or fortunate depending on how you look at it. So yeah, we like to do that here at Radio Nation, promote a lot of the small stuff because it doesn't get recognized, and it is a big issue. Like even the small things, because they sort of make the bigger things bigger, right? So if you can do something small and help out, it will make a big change. Now, before I let you go, one last thing is, it's been interesting to see how, like, 10 years ago, environmentalists were looked at as just people that just like trees.
Yeah.
Like, right?
Tree huggers.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because my mom, when she was in high school, she said she was at a party, and she said she heard this guy talk about recycling. This was, like, in the 60s or 70s or something, like, a long time ago. And she's like, people just made fun of the guy. And now it's like, recycling is something that we do every day. I guess in your words, how important is it to be environmentally conscious?
I always joke that I'm kind of an environmentalist that would be out in the field in heels with lip gloss because I think anyone can do it, and it's important for everyone to kind of take a look at their life and see how they can make changes, especially like if you love water and you love being alive and you love green space, then you have to love the environment, because once that's all gone, we're all kind of we'll lose hope.
Well, let's hopefully not get to that point.
Yeah.
Let's hope not. And thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks
it's been
for
a lot
having
of fun.
me.
And yes, if you ever have issues or your blog, if you need something promoted on the air, don't hesitate at all. Just pass along some information. If there's an event coming that might be interested to people in not just in Halton but in the Toronto area, let us know, because like that's what I do here. So, and I love doing it, and it makes me feel good because it's my only way to contribute. Not my only way, but it's one of the ways I like to give back to society. So, thank you very much for coming on. You do some fantastic work, and it's hopefully we'll see more of it in the future.